Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our New York Islanders franchise mode here in NHL 25. So last episode, if you did not catch it, we had the draft and re-sign stage, and the draft was pretty damn good for us. We managed to acquire an extra first round pick and get ourselves another good prospect in. So we are starting to build up a solid foundation of players that are going to be here with us when we are actually going through a rebuild and all that type of thing, which is very, very exciting. So first and foremost, we did draft ourselves. If I go here, you can see this defenseman. This is the pick that I got via trade. We basically moved out Alexander Romanov, and we got in a nice first round pick and drafted Antti Salmelainen at 21st overall, and as you can see, 80 overall, low elite potential. So I'm very, very ecstatic about that pick. And then with our original first round pick, we actually also drafted a medium elite center at 20th overall in Matthias Eriksson, who is going to be probably a few years out still for making his NHL debut. He could be in the AHL as early as next season. But yeah, excited also for this guy, because now we are starting to build up that prospect pool where we have a couple elite players and all that type of thing, which is great to see. So very excited for that, of course, but obviously we do still have a lot of work to go before this team's actually going to be competitive again, because we are going to be offloading quite a bit of good players in this episode, including probably like Ryan Pulock, Bo Horvat, Oliver Bjorkstrand, even Ilya Sorokin. Like, there's a lot of movements that we got to make before we actually get to start the next season, because obviously we're not trying to win a Stanley Cup at least for like 5 years or so. And obviously, since we're going into a rebuild, we're going to be starting to build around like Frundell, Dobson. We want to find those kind of complementary players. We aren't going to necessarily find those type of players in free agency, so hopefully in the next few drafts you get draft some more good players to add to the team. But very excited for, like I said, Salmelainen to jump to our defensive core right away, because I was not expecting him to be a low elite potential as well. Like, I expected him to be a high overall because there was some good defenders going into the draft, but an 80 overall is pretty damn fantastic. There was also some other good low elites in the second round that we unfortunately missed on, but hopefully in the future drafts have some good players as well, and that could help us out in that type of thing. So yeah, very excited for Salmelainen. I think he's going to be a good defensive partner to put next to Noah Dobson, and hopefully putting him next to a really good player like Noah Dobson, that actually helps his growth quite a bit. But anyways, before we get into free agent signings, also making a lot of trades and all that type of thing before we start up the season simulation, let's get in your guys' comments and see what you guys have to say about last episode. So the first comment is from Michael Dos, who says, great job on the start of the rebuild. Looks like you have plenty more to bring in and ship out of 5 to 6 players. I would target players aged 25 to 27 with ratings in low 80s for rebuild and build up those draft picks in the first 2 to 3 rounds. And yeah, that's basically the play with the team. Is we're probably going to be offloading basically everybody that has a clause except for Brock Nelson, because we want Brock Nelson to retire with this team. We're going to be trying to offload Matt Barzal probably this offseason. If we can't offload him this offseason, obviously during the season would probably be better, but at the same time, we don't want to be too good of a team if we have him in the lineup. So we got to get rid of him. We got to get rid of Bo Horvat as well. And then we also got to get rid of like Oliver Bjorkstrand, who's not even got a clause on his contract, which is kind of nice. We could literally trade him anywhere in the league as long as they could afford him cap-wise. So I do like that we actually have more flexibility with Oliver Bjorkstrand, but he needs to be dealt as well. And then in terms of defensemen, I don't think there was anybody other than Ryan Pulock. Ryan Pulock needs to be moved out. He's also on the last year of his contract, so we want to move him out before he ends up becoming a pending free agent, just like Adam Pelech was. Adam Pelech's now in free agency. And then from a goaltending perspective, obviously Ilya Sorokin needs to be moved out because Khudobin is ready to take that starting job. And then also we have Solovyov, who will be his backup next season. So we do have quite a bit of players to move out, but it should be interesting to see what we could get back for those type of guys. Next comment is from Sauron Taku, who says, Salmelainen was an insane steal. Him next to Dobson should form a fantastic top pairing once you have other decent prospects into the system. Any current players should be traded for picks unless there's a really strong prospect in the mix, as you're temporarily becoming a draft glory team. You can overpay some of the better free agents like Height, who don't have the most organizational interest. I don't really care who you bring in at this point as long as you're tanking right now. Signing quality free agents will become more important once the team is ready to step back into playoff contention. And yeah, that's pretty much true. So there was some intriguing free agents. Obviously, we'll go back through the free agent list in a little bit, but as you can see, the one that we have the most interest in is probably going to be Riley Height, because he's one of the younger free agents available. If we scroll down to, I think it was down to 82, yeah. He's only 24 years old. He's actually a UFA, which is kind of surprising. I don't know why he didn't get an offer from Minnesota or whatever team he was on. But yeah, we definitely will try and bring this guy in because he could be a part of the rebuild for a few years before maybe we flip him out if we have one of our centers like Eriksson generate enough growth. So yeah, he's likely going to be a signing, and then a lot of our other signings are just going to be kind of younger options. So that way we kind of have still a relatively young team with some potential while we actually start to build it up via the draft as well. The next two comments are from Shankly Mania. The first one says, feels like a completely new franchise mode save with this massive rebuild. Agree with Taku, I don't know what he means by Taku there. No need to do it bit by bit. Just explode the whole thing straight away for picks and good prospects. The old guys had their chance for the cup. Now is the next gen should be the only focus. Trade away everybody 30 plus years old dudes, or maybe keep Barzell for a year or two. Just remember that you're tanking, not winning. See, that is true. We should probably trade away anybody that is older than 30 years old. Now, there is a couple of exceptions, I'd say, to that, is guys like, Yanni Gourde. He's not really much of anything. He's just a good filler player, so might as well just hold on to him, considering he doesn't have enough value, really, to actually get anything back via trade. We aren't going to be moving out Brock Nelson because I would like him to retire here. And then everybody else should be relatively younger, I think, in terms of options. So, obviously, we are going to trade away the guys with the clauses. But for the most part, we have gotten rid of a lot of the old guys on this roster, which is a good sign for the rebuild. So, because if we even go in the system, I don't think, we don't have anybody super old. So, we're starting to get that young foundation at least in place, which is a good sign. Also, he says maybe get some coaches with A+/A teaching for both teams would accelerate the process too. So he's saying maybe we should look at some new coaches for the NHL and minor league, like a head coach at least in terms of that, just with some good teaching grids, so that way we could get those guys to start growing that are our prospects. I mean, that could be an option. I don't know if it's necessary right now, because our current coach, obviously, he was a really good fit with the old team. I honestly have no idea how good he's going to fit this current team. But his teaching grade is actually an A+, so maybe we just keep with that for now. Obviously, we could change him out in a few seasons. In the AHL, this guy's got an A, so I think we pretty much already have our good enough coaches for now. But obviously, at some point, we'll look for better coaches that work really good with our young guys, in particular, like Frundell and all that. And the last and final comment is from Dylan Burrows. This is bring in height for sure. That's a great pickup. Maybe a big money deal for 2 years, like $6-7 million for 2 years to help with the cap floor. And yeah, we also got to take in note that we need to make ourselves get to the cap floor, because obviously our team over the last few years has been pretty close in terms of the max salary cap. But now, since we're turning our team into a rebuilding team, we're basically going to have to find a way to still stay cap compliant despite bringing in a lot of lower overalls. So we are going to have to overpay on some free agents and probably bring in maybe some cap whales as well to play in the AHL or something like that. I'm not too sure exactly, but we definitely have a lot of work to do in this offseason before we actually see what our team's looking like for next season. So without further ado, I think the first thing we're going to do is trade away the guys we need to trade away. So that way we can see exactly how much free agents we need to sign, because or else I might oversign or undersign. So the guys we need to trade away, this is going to be an interesting thing to see what we could do in terms of trades. So we did go to the trade finder in last episode. No trades were thrown at us for those guys. But I did write down on a piece of paper how, what teams all those guys were interested in that had clauses, except for Bjorkstrand, obviously, because he doesn't have a clause. So some of these guys have an interest in a lot of teams. Like, I think most of them have interest in 16 teams. So let's start by looking at what we could get for maybe Ilya Sorokin, because he's the obvious one to move out just because of the goaltending situation with the young prospects that are ready to take that jump. So let's go through some teams here and see what he would what he could fetch us back. Like, hopefully he could fetch us back some good prospects or good picks at least. So if I'm not mistaken, let's actually go through each team that he's interested in. So first and foremost, the Boston Bruins. What do they have in terms of trading block stuff? They have second rounders. They don't have their first rounder on the block. Obviously, I would prefer to get a first rounder, at least in part of this deal, for Sorokin, because Sorokin, how is his value on paper? Let's see. It's pretty high up. Is it worth a first round pick and more? Let me take a look at that. They do have that medium elite goalie prospect in Zikov that was in the draft, but we already have a lot of the elite goalie prospects. So that's probably something I don't need. Don't really need any goalie prospects in general. What about rookie skaters on the block? Anybody with good potential? Low top six forwards. And yeah, not really anything huge. I mean, this Olsen guy's a 75 at 21. That's actually pretty damn solid, but I don't think he's going to be that good. He looks actually okay on paper. He's got good shooting. I don't know if he's a real player or not. He actually might be a real player just because he played in the WHL. Huh. But yeah, he has a pretty good overall, but yeah, no potential really. Like, if that was a top 6-4 potential, maybe I would be leaning towards adding him to this deal if we are to trade with Boston, but yeah, they don't have much for prospects. In terms of their draft picks, like I said, they don't really want to move their first, but their first is less valued than Sorokin is, so we should be able to get a first and maybe a good prospect in for Sorokin, which is nice to see. So let's remove Ilya for a second just so we can actually go to the next team that he's interested in, which is the Carolina Hurricanes. What do they have on the block? No first rounder as well on the block. Do they have any of their good prospects on the block? Oh man, what the heck am I doing here? Skaters matching block, there you go. Actually, I don't know if this is actually going to match our block that well because I didn't update our block. Medium 9s, there's like Repik, who's 74 at 20, Duguay, who's at 77 at 21. I feel like this episode is going to be really long, just a little heads up about that, just because of all the trades we have to look through. Liam Campbell is not bad either. 76 at 20 is actually pretty solid. 78 at 22 in Karamov. I think he's probably real, but I don't know for sure. So they don't really have a ton of great prospects on the block. What about, let's just go to the rookies that we could potentially bring in. We don't need goalie prospects. They do have a low elite center, but he is probably one of those low elites that are not going to really pan out because he's a 58 at 19. So to me, even though that's a low elite, that would be interesting to add to this deal. I don't see him as one of those low elites that's going to be a huge prospect for us if we did bring him in via trade as well. Yeah, Marcel Hobbs, I don't think he's going to pan out really that well. So I don't think Carolina is probably the best bet for Sorokin. What about Chicago? Because that's another team he's like... Ooh, so Chicago could be one because Joe Ginla's there. I mean, he's not on their block anymore. They also do have this Houghton guy who's a 78 at 19. Offensive defenseman. Okay, that could be interesting. I know he's not on their block, but he's not even signed yet. And he could literally jump to our defensive core next season if we want to. He's got really good passing, 98 passing. His offensive awareness not up there yet, but if it gets up there, that'd be fantastic. He's got great shooting as well for a guy that was drafted in the 6th round. Okay, so Chicago might be the team to make a deal with here. Because there's also like Svensson, but Houghton has got lower value than Svensson, which I don't understand for any of that. But we could bring in Houghton in like a 1st round pick, maybe even more than that, to get rid of Sorokin to Chicago. Now, does it make sense for Sorokin to go to Chicago? Probably not. Yeah, probably not. That's the only thing that I don't know if I should do, because they have Comesso in the system. They're trying to trade away Gabriel Dag right now, who's signed to a 7-year deal. And an Igor Shesterkin is the starter because he's on a no-movement clause. I don't think it makes sense for them to trade for that. So I don't know if I could trade him to Chicago based on the realism. I could trade Matt Barzal to Chicago. He has Chicago on their list. Ryan Pulock has Chicago on his list. So Barzal or Pulock could potentially fetch us that defenseman. So I'll probably come back to Chicago, but not in this deal, just because it doesn't make sense for them realistically. So Colorado, what about Colorado here? So Colorado also could use Sorokin potentially. Do they need the goaltending? Not really. They do have Urson signed for 3 years and Noonan signed for 2. Let's actually try and see if there's one of the teams on his list that actually makes a lot more sense than the others, just because I feel like I want to make realistic trades too, kind of. Jake Ottinger's the starter, Stolarz is the backup. Probably doesn't make sense for him. Detroit also. What about them? Gustafsson as a starter, Lindgren as a backup. They also have Lyon still. Doesn't really make sense. Edmonton. What about the Oilers? The Oilers have Stuart Skinner on a modified no-trade clause. Only 1 year left. And then they also have Akira Schmid. Stuart Skinner is listed probably as a starting goaltender. Yeah, I don't think there's any use for the Oilers bringing in another goaltender. I mean, they do technically need another goalie under contract, but I don't think they want another starter, in my opinion. The LA Kings. The LA Kings have a lot of cap space. Wow. I didn't realize how much cap space they have. They could use a starting goalie for sure. They could definitely use one. So maybe LA is the best destination in that sense for one Sorokin. They probably won't get rid of any of these younger good prospects, so to speak. I mean, we could probably try and find a way to steal one of them. Actually, they do have a lot of top 6 forward prospects, so we could potentially steal one. And then they don't want to obviously move their first rounder because they're not a good team, I guess, based on this stage. But that's something I think we need to get in terms of Sorokin's trade. So even though they need a goalie, I'm not too sure about LA anymore, just because I don't think I could get their first rounder for them. I mean, I probably can, but I feel like I would be cheesing them if they missed the playoffs and all that type of thing. So I don't know if LA is the best bet for him. Montreal, what about you? You don't want to give up your first? I don't think any team wants to give up their first, though, for that matter. Do you have any use for Sorokin? Do you have any use? Not really. They have Saros and Georgiev. I almost said Georgiev, but it's Georgiev technically. So yeah, that doesn't really make sense in my opinion. New Jersey, what about you? They have Spencer Knight, but no backup goaltender. They did just sign Spencer Knight a few years ago in free agency, so probably doesn't make much sense for them to do that. The New York Rangers, trading him to our New York rival would be kind of strange, but they do need a goaltender. Soderblom's technically their best goalie right now. So maybe we could deal a deal with the other New York team. I don't know if that would be fun to trade Sorokin to the Rangers. I feel like a lot of Islanders fans would absolutely hate on that, but that might be the best bet. I mean, technically they have Guerin and Misa, so they're building up a good prospect pool too. So, I don't know. I don't know if their mid makes much sense because they are kind of a rebuilding team as well. They won't want to give up their first likely. So let's head to Pittsburgh. They also probably are rebuilding. They do have some good young prospects. None of them on the block, of course. Do they need a goaltender? No, they do not. They are trying to get rid of Nedeljkovic right now, so Ivankovic could go in. So I don't think they really need any goaltenders. They have a lot of them. What else has interest in them? Tampa Bay. They have Vasilevsky still under contract. He is 34 years old, though, at this point, but probably doesn't make much sense to have Sorokin behind Vasilevsky. Toronto, what about you? Toronto's got Vejmelka and Jones. We're already like 20 minutes into this recording. I've had to clear my voice so many times, but they have Vejmelka and Jones. That's not the best goaltending combination we've seen. They could technically use a Sorokin, and then Vejmelka could be a backup, pathetically. But Jones is also listed as backup. Do I want to trade him to the Leafs, though? Let's see. They do have Serrata as a prospect who looks pretty damn good. 79 at 18. Was a 31st overall pick this actual season. Damn. So he's another good steal. They probably would want to move their first round pick. Or be willing to move their first round pick because I'm pretty sure they've made it far in the playoffs in the series. Maybe we can make a deal with the Toronto Maple Leafs. I don't know about giving them a great goaltender like Sorokin, but it could work. Vancouver. What about Vancouver? They don't even have their first rounder for this year. Maybe we grab a future first then. What about goalies? Do they have any use for him? Not really. Demko and Shilovs is there. And then we head to Winnipeg. They have 281, so technically they could use another one. Hellbuck has dropped off a cliff. So they could use another starting goaltender. Primo could be a depth option for them. Yeah, maybe the Jets would make a lot of sense. So yeah, I think we will look at maybe Winnipeg here. Rookie skaters, they don't have anything crazy. They do have like a 68 at 18, which is not bad for top 6 forward. And Dale Weaver, former second rounder, he's a grinder. Novotny's too old. They don't really have the best. Oh, there's a couple of low leads here, actually. They do have Brock Hunter. We were looking at this guy before, I think. Low lead 66, former first round pick. Yeah, we could add him to this deal. And maybe get a first rounder. I think the Jets are probably the best bet here. So let's see if we could work a deal with the Jets, just because I've been recording for quite a while already at this point, and I haven't even made a single trade or signing yet, so there's still a lot of work to go. I might not even start the season sim in this episode based on how I'm recording right now, but we'll see. So if I did a first in Brock Hunter, and I gave up Sorokin, value is maybe a bit in their favor, unfortunately. Might be able to still add something to this deal. Is there anything else they have any interest in? Like, do they have any interest in any of my actual roster players that I'm trying to move out? I mean, there's Pollock, but we're going to use Pollock in that different deal, remember, with Chicago. Bjorkstrand, I don't have any interest in. And there's some interest in, like, guys like Dufour, who aren't much of anything, but those guys are players that are probably going to be on our roster next season. I could give them Galvin, who's literally got no potential. He's a 67. I know he's technically a prospect, but I could add him to this deal. There's also some medium bottom sixes that aren't probably going to pan out. So I could probably throw in some of these guys, because they're just filler players, basically. Yeah, you know what? Let's see if adding somebody like Buzaz makes this close enough. I'll see if this goes through. Maybe I could retain some salary on Sorokin. I wouldn't mind doing that, just because obviously we're going to be in a rebuild for a while anyways, trying to reach that cap floor. But first, let's see if this works. So Sorokin and Buzaz for a Lowleton Hunter and a first round pick. Rejected. Okay. Yeah, I think I might have to honestly retain some salary here. Let's just be nice and retain like 25% of the salary. See how that would help things. Maybe we could actually even get more if we retain salary. So I don't mind retaining salary on a deal like this. 25% retained. And we'll also give you Buzaz again, because we don't really need him. Let's see if that works. Rejected. Okay. Not enough. What if I retain 30%? Because I'm okay with retaining some money for the next few years. We're going to be fine in the cap space anyways. 30% retained. Still not interested at this point in time. What if I do 35% retained? We got to get this to go through eventually. You're still not willing to accept. I don't think they really want to move their first rounder, but we're going to try our best here. 40%. Rejected again. What if I retain a full-on 50% of this contract? Which is not terrible. It's $4 million for the next 3 years. It's a lot of money, kind of, but we're going to be bad for those next few years anyways. So that's all right with me to retain that much. Still rejected. Okay. So apparently we would have to probably move another pick in this deal in order to move up. We do have multiple second rounders, so maybe I'm okay with moving a 7th round pick in this deal, or like a 5th rounder. If I added a 5th round pick to this deal, would that work? So basically we're moving up 4 rounds. And then, yeah, that should be better. I don't know if they're going to reject it. Still, we are retaining 50%, so I hope this would work, but let's see if that works. Rejected still. Isn't sufficient at all. Yeah, that first rounder might be kind of tough to get from them, but we got to find a way to do it. What if I got rid of Hunter out of this deal? Because apparently, I guess they don't really want to move Hunter. That might be okay. Maybe we could just do it straight up for the first rounder. Like maybe Hunter is somebody they don't really want to move out from. So Sorokin for a first rounder, 50% retained, no lowly prospect. Isn't sufficient still. Wow. All right. Well, what if I gave you a 4th rounder? That might be as high as I could go in terms of picks, because obviously I don't want to give up too much picks. I don't think we're going to get any huge steals in the 4th round this coming year, but this could be a bad trade still too. But we need to get rid of Sorokin somehow, so isn't sufficient still. Damn, man. I am surprised. So let's go back to Toronto then, I guess, because Toronto's the next best team that wants actually Sorokin. I know that the Leafs have been actually pretty good, so that's kind of a bit scary to trade him there. They don't have any interest in him, even though he has interest in them. That's the only problem as well. But if I took your first round pick, I might be able to get it done here. I might have to add still or retain honest, but let's see about this. Still rejected. Come on, you gotta let me give you Sorokin. Yeah, let me give you Sorokin. Literally for a first round pick. I think this is a no-brainer for some teams, but this is a lot tougher than I anticipated to move Sorokin. Like, maybe we should do some other deals first here. Because I don't know why it's kind of tough to move him, because he's been a really solid goaltender. So, any team that's getting him will have a higher chance to win the cup, probably. We honestly might just wait a bit here to try and move him. But we definitely need to move him because of the goalie situation. Alright, so it seems like he's going to really be tough to get for a first round, get rid of for a first rounder. I'm going to remove Sorokin from this from now. I know I just wasted a shit ton of time, but let's try and make a different deal here. Just because we need to make deals, and we haven't made a single one, and I've been recording for 20 plus minutes. So if we go to Chicago here, we did have any interest in, who was it? Oh yeah, this fencing guy? No, it was Houghton. Houghton we have interest in for sure. And we can give them Ryan Pulock. A defenseman for a defenseman, I think, makes a lot of sense. So if we add Pulock to this deal, because Pulock has interest in them, they have interest in Pulock, they'd be over the salary cap. But lucky for us, we could retain salary. It's only for 1 year too, so I'm okay with retaining like up to 50%. Also maybe taking back a cap whale if need be. But let's retain a full-on 50%, which they actually would be approved by then. Okay. So can I go any less than 50%? Out of curiosity. 40%, they'd be still over. So 45%? They'd still be over. 46%, still over. 47%, still over. So it might actually have to be the 50. 48, 49. Yeah, it has to be the full on 50. And then we'd be able to like get them over there. Does still look like they'd be over the salary cap though, which is weird. But apparently 50% works. So Houghton and then obviously Pulock's now got a shit ton of value. Do they have a first rounder I could add to this? We might be able to actually get a pretty good haul for Ryan Pulock. Houghton and a first round pick. Can I add anything to this deal? I'm surprised that Pulock might be able to fetch more than Sorokin. Let's get ourselves... see if I can add a third rounder for next year. I doubt I can, but... Let's see if this goes through. This might work, might not work. Pulock for Houghton, a first and a third. Wow, that's accepted. Wow, they apparently say it's a no-brainer. So, I think that was a pretty damn good trade. We just traded away one of our best defensemen, obviously, but we do get ourselves a first-round pick for this year from Chicago, so we are up to 2 first-round picks now. We also get ourselves that defenseman who could play on the NHL team next season, which is also exciting. So we get ourselves a low-lead offensive defenseman to add to the pool. Yeah, I'd like that a lot. That's a really nice little pickup. He's actually still unsigned, so I'll probably will give him a contract here shortly as well if I remember. But I do like that move. I think that's a good move for our team. We also did get an extra pick for the future year, and that was a third rounder, I think. Yeah. That was a really good trade. I'm surprised that Sorokin doesn't get as much value, but shout out to Ryan Pulock on his way to Chicago. Good little deal made there. So now we also need to get rid of Bo Horvat, Barzal still, Oliver Bjorkstrand. There's so much pieces to move, man. I'm definitely not going to be able to start up the season sim, I don't think, in this episode at this rate. Just because or else this episode could be like a 2-hour long episode. So Bjorkstrand, let's just actually go through every single team and see who has interest in him, because he doesn't have a clause, which is nice. Boston, what about you? Does Bjorkstrand have a lot of value? He does actually have a lot of value. We might be able to get a first-round pick for him. So, does any team that's bad have any interest in him, like the LA Kings? No. Trying to see who could be potentially bad next season. I don't want to cheese teams out completely, but not a lot of teams have interest in Bjorkstrand, it looks like, across the league. So I guess we will have to look at Boston here. Can I get a first rounder? Yes, I definitely can. Can I get... I can't get 2 first rounders from, right? No. That would be insane. Imagine getting 2 first rounders from Bjorkstrand. Oh no, of course the connection to EA servers went down. Hopefully that doesn't screw up anything. I'm trying to think of what else we could add to this. Let's add a second rounder for the year afterwards. And that might be fine enough. Did I have any prospects that I had any interest in? I don't remember. Let's see. Skaters matching blocker. Let's go rookie skaters. Oh my goodness. This game is like slow sometimes, man. Or I think I'm thinking faster than the game thinks. I don't really have any prospects other than meme nines. But there is Olsen still that we were looking at before. Which to me is not that bad of a player, but I don't think I want him. And we don't really need any rookie goalie prospects. Yeah, I guess I'll probably just take picks from them. So if I do a first, a second, and let's add actually, let's see if I could add anything else. Let's add a fourth rounder for this year. Would that work? Yep, that would work. Okay, another no-brainer according to this, but we are getting ourselves some more picks. Obviously, we have to let go of these guys, so it makes sense. Bjorkstrand on his way to Boston. So now we're just down to Horvat, Barzal, and Sorokin. Man, there's so much moves. I don't think I've ever had to make this much moves in an offseason before. So Horvat, who did he have interest in again? Calgary and all that. Let's just go to Calgary for a second here. Do they have anybody that I'd have interest in terms of prospects? Meme for Letowski, who could play on our NHL team next season. He's also unsigned. Cook, 78/21 as a top 6'4 prospect. Did he play last season? Tyrone Cook? He played in the AHL at a 30-goal season. That guy's going to get added to this deal for sure at this rate. So we'll take Cook. I don't know if they'll want to move him, but Cook. And what if we take... It looks like they're rebuilding, technically. They have 2 firsts, they have 2 seconds, 3 thirds. So they should be okay with giving me maybe one of these third rounders as well. And we're giving them Bo Horvat, though, so we actually may be able to get a lot more than that. Do they have any interest in him, Bo? Yes, they do. Okay, that's good. Maybe I could actually get a first rounder. It does seem like they're rebuilding, but they do have multiple firsts. That could work potentially. Vancouver's first and Cook for Horvat. That could work. Let's see if it works. And it's accepted again. I don't know if I'm making the right moves here, but I think we are making some okay moves here. We're just offloading players. We're getting first rounders. I think we're making good moves, but I'm also feeling a little bit weird just offloading every single player that we need to, because I've never had to do this in a franchise mode before. Matt Barzal. A lot of value on Matt Barzal. That's probably going to fetch us a good chunk of stuff. I just don't know if there's going to be a team that's going to have a lot of assets to move. Colorado would have interest probably in him. Does he have interest in... he has interest in them, but do they have interest in him? Yes, they do. Okay. Well, Colorado, you'd be over to salary cap. That's one thing we are going to have to retain on him, but I could take multiple first rounders for him, probably. Yeah, way more than multiple first rounders. Damn, I could get a shit ton of stuff from him. Do they have any good prospects, like any elite players? Not that I want to take too much good prospects from teams. And they don't have really any forward prospects. That's unfortunate. What about goalies? They have good goalie prospects. Like, if I was looking for goalie prospects, I could take these guys, but I'm not really looking for goalie prospects. Yeah, I don't think Colorado's going to make much sense. Let me actually back out of the screen for a second so I can get rid of that damn pop-up thing. But let's see if we could find a way to get rid of Barzal. I don't think Colorado's going to work just because they don't have the prospects. What about Dallas? Do they actually like Barzal like he likes them? Yes, they do. Okay. That's a crazy amount of value on Matt Barzal, though. It's almost like full bar. So we literally could get a lot for him. So let's do multiple firsts again, because I think that's a good starting point. They'd be over to salary cap by actually a lot of money, though. I don't think it's going to work with Dallas, unfortunately, based on that, because I don't want to take back too much salary. The Detroit Red Wings. Do they have any interest in Matt Barzal? Let's see. They do not. Okay. Edmonton and LA. Does Edmonton have any interest in Barzal? Yeah, they do. Okay. Okay. They'd be over by $6 million, so Salary cap is a huge issue, it seems like, with a lot of these teams. LA, do they have interest in him? No, they do not. No, they do not. Montreal. Actually, no, I'm looking at Sorokin's stuff, actually, accidentally. New Jersey, Tampa, Toronto. Oh yeah, Barzal's a lot more of a smaller trade list too. That's unfortunate. New Jersey does have interest in Barzal though, so we could send him to a place not too far away. It is in our division, but that's okay with me. So 2 first-round picks. It is still league approved, which is good. So they do have the cap space for him. They do have prospects too we could potentially bring in. They have Wallace, who's that top 6 forward that we were actually looking at one of our spots. I could add him to this deal. So Wallace. Do they have any other good prospects? Not really. Wallace is the best of the prospects on there. They have some medium 9s, but they're not going to pan out probably. What about goalie prospects? Just Ravensburg. Draft picks. I could probably get more draft picks in like a second rounder coming up. Like this 2030 draft better be a good draft. Because we're adding a lot of picks for this draft. So 2 second rounders, Wallace, 2 first rounders for Matt Barzal. That's a lot of value for the Devils to give up. But they want Matt Barzal. I think it's a good trade. I don't know if that's maximum value. Maybe I could get a first rounder again instead of these 2 seconds. Can I get their 2032 first rounder? Because I feel like I want the first rounder more. Yeah, I probably can. So 3 first rounders and Wallace for Barzal. Will this go through? This is probably a little bit overdoing it. I feel like I'm not making much realistic sense, but let's see if this goes through. Barzal for all that. Yes, it is. Okay, so Matt Barzal gets us 3 first round picks and a top 6 forward prospect. That's actually kind of insane. So we got to hope that the Devils fall off over these next few years, but I think that is a pretty damn insane trade. We are building up a lot of picks in these few drafts. This year we already have 5 first round picks, and we haven't even moved Sorokin yet. We also have 2 second rounders, a third, 2 fourths, a 5th, 6th, and a 7th. And then you can see, like, even for 2031, we have 2 firsts, 2 seconds, 2 thirds. Like, we're building up a lot of picks over these years. We got to be careful that we don't accumulate too much picks, or else this game is going to probably crash. So the last player to move is Sorokin. So who else can we deal him to? Who could I deal him to? Winnipeg was the only team that I felt like could have made sense, but I don't know if we are going to be able to get anything for him. Like, they don't want to give up their first rounder, it seems like, to get him, which is kind of strange. Because every other team's probably going to be willing to give up first rounders, but let's see. Maybe they think they're going to be bad this season. What if I do for 2031 instead of 2030? I don't know if that's going to make much of a difference. Let's see, Sorokin. Yeah, that value, we probably have to add a little something. We do have a lot of extra picks now, though, so maybe I decide to throw in one of the third rounders I just accumulated. Like, this third rounder from Chicago is probably not going to be super low. So, basically, we got that third rounder in a previous trade. We move it to move up 2 rounds, and we get rid of Sorokin. That might work a little bit more. I think that's a good trade if it does make sense. So, Sorokin and a third for a first rounder. Will this actually work? And that's still rejected, so I don't know why they don't want to move this first rounder. I feel like that's a good little trade to make, but we have to look at some other teams, I guess, for Sorokin, because the Jets just don't want to do anything with us. What about Vancouver? They don't have their first rounders, right? What about their first rounder for next year? Since they don't have a first this year, they should be able to offload a first rounder for the year afterwards. We do have their first for this year from a different trade with the Calgary Flames. We've made so many trades, I'm losing my mind on what trades we've made already. But let's see, Sorokin. They don't actually have any interest in Sorokin. They'd be over the salary cap. God damn, man. This is tough to move him out. Toronto, we were saying we can't really do anything with. What about Tampa? Tampa really doesn't make sense, though, because of Vasilevsky. Pittsburgh, did we say that makes sense? No, probably not, because they have, 4 NHL goalies, basically. The Rangers, Did they have interest? Yeah, the Rangers still could use him. Maybe we do trade him to New York. So from the Islanders to the Rangers. I know it seems like a bad idea just because we play them so much, but we already made a trade with the Devils, so it's not like we can make anything much worse. So if we take their first rounder, that might be able to get it done. We might have to add a third rounder or something to this, but let's see if New York is okay with giving us their first. No. It's probably because they're rebuilding, I think. What about next year's first? Is that a little bit less value? No. Okay, so I don't know if the Rangers actually will make sense because of that. New Jersey, we've already just made a lot of trades with them. I don't think I want to trade them another player like that because we already just traded them Barzal. Montreal. Let's see about you again. What is your value on your first rounder compared to Sorokin? I don't know why Sorokin's so hard to move out. We still have to do all our signings still too. Goddamn, man. Yeah, we're definitely not starting up the season sim in this episode. You guys are just seeing me being an idiot and making trades. Sorokin for first. I feel like we have less value on our side, so I don't think it's going to work with Montreal. Man, this is so tough to move them out. LA's rebuilding, so they're not going to want to do anything like that. Edmonton is probably still continuing, but they only have Stuart Skinner as a starter, so I don't know if it really makes much sense for Sorokin to go there. But if I take, let's take next year's first instead of this year's first, just to play it safe. Let's go Sorokin. They don't have any interest in Sorokin. They'd be over to cap. Oh man, this is not good. There's not a lot of teams we could move him to without them being over to cap. Let me actually add not Gustafsson again. Not Solovyov either. Sorokin. Oh my goodness. Yeah, they'd be over to cap. It looks like by a little bit we could retain salary. I don't have any problems with that. Their first rounder looks like has a lot of value. Maybe not too much more. Let's just see if this would work. Nope. Oh, man. There's got to be a team I could get him to. Dallas would probably be over to salary cap. Colorado could probably afford him. I don't know if they need him, though, to be honest. Let's see, not Solovyov, goddamn man. Why is this game sometimes slow? Sorokin. They don't have any interest in Sorokin. Chicago, we know we can't really deal him to. Carolina. I mean, I could drill him to Chicago still, maybe. Maybe that would make sense. Carolina definitely needs a goalie, though. So I feel like it would make sense for him to go to Carolina. So we give him to there. We do retain salary on. We will retain salary on him, probably. First round pick. We might have to add to this, but let's see if that goes through. Mostly insufficient. Here, let me retain some salary on it. Be nice to you guys. I can retain 50%. I don't really care too much how much I retain on them. Even if you don't need the cap space, it still might as well just give them a 50% off contract. And that might work because we just need to get rid of him at this point. A first round pick would be nice again. So rejected still. So what if I added a pick that I don't need? We have so many first rounders and stuff like that I'm okay with giving up like a third rounder way in the future here in 2031 from Chicago. So we move up 2 rounds but a year earlier and we give up Sorokin on 50% retained. Still rejected. Wow. Come on. Come on, Carolina. What could I do here? Am I going to have to take like 2 second-round picks to get him? I honestly might be the best play here. Just because I need to get rid of him at this point. So 2 second-rounders. Let's actually retain less money now. Just because they're taking less, let's retain like 30% instead of 50%. And that could work, potentially. I might have to still retain more, but let's see if that works. Sorokin on 30% retained for 2 second-rounders because they aren't budging on a first. That's accepted, okay. They said it's a really good deal for them, so maybe I didn't need to even retain, but we needed to find a way to remove him, and we finally found a way to do so. So everybody has been offloaded that needs to be offloaded, except for Bjorkstrand, or did I move Bjorkstrand already? No, I did move him to Boston, right? Yeah, I moved him to Boston, so... Sorokin fetched us a lot less than the other players did, but we finally offloaded everybody, and now we can finally get into actually getting our roster ready for next season. So we got our goaltending tandem. We do need still an AHL goalie. I still need to make a lot of signings. Actually, I'm going to just make a quick cut here, guys, because I'm going to write down everything I need so that way I can do through it a little bit quicker. But I'll see you guys in a second. Okay, guys, so I think I got our list of what we need to sign, which is quite a bit of things, and obviously some of them are going to have to be cap whales. So, yeah, there's basically a lot of every single position. So let's go over to free agents and sign some players up here. But yeah, this episode definitely a little bit of a clusterfuck in terms of signings and trades and all that stuff, but it's for the rebuild, so we got to make sure we're making the right decisions, right? So I think we accumulated a lot of draft capital, which is exciting. Is it going to be the best draft in the future in 2030? Who knows? If it's going to be a bad draft, maybe we trade our first we have for this year for another year. Yeah, I'm hoping that we can at least get some good prospects in these next few drafts for our team, because obviously this team's going to be quite a bit worse than it's ever been before. So first and foremost, I do need ourselves an AHL goaltender. I was going to see if there was any guy that has some potential that's unsigned that we could bring in that went undrafted or something. Which there is a 59 at 20 medium French starter. That's actually not that bad because technically that would give Medvedov the starts in the AHL. So I think he's going to be our signing for the AHL goaltender. So Vladimir Nikulin. So we're bringing in another USSR, Russia. Where's he from? I don't want to say the wrong country. Where's he from? Russia. Okay. So yeah, we'll bring in Nikulin to add to the Russian, Ukrainian, like Latvian goaltenders we have already in the system. So Nikulin will come in as the backup for the AHL, so that's all good and ready to go. Let me just check that off my list. We need 2 to 3 NHL defensemen. Okay, that should be interesting. 2 to 3 NHL defensemen. And obviously we don't want to sign anybody too good, but we are going to sign a couple cap whales and good players. The first one I want to sign for sure, Maverick Lamoureux, 80 overall at 25. I think he's a good young defenseman. Might as well bring him in, and we'll probably give him a lot of money here just to be one of those cap whales on the team. So take 11 million bucks here, boy. I'll take it. There you go. So Lamoureux's on board, so we need still 2 more defensemen. These guys are going to be more lower end, maybe. They don't have to actually be super low. And we could bring in Ottavainen. He's 26. Let's bring him in. Give him maybe a little bit more money as well for 2 years. Obviously, it's going to make it harder to deal these guys away if some of them are cap whales. But at the same time, we're just trying to be crap for a few years and then get ready. So let's give him a contract, 4.5 for 2 years. Welcome aboard, Villy. We need 1 more defenseman. Let's give one like a 78 or something. Doesn't have to be super high. Jorian Donovan. You know, that's perfect. 2-way contract. Let's give you a 1-way just because we need the money. So let's give you a 1-way, 1.55. Thank you. So there's our 3 NHL defensemen. We also do need an AHL defenseman. So this one we'll have more of a guy that's on a 2-way contract, I guess. So somebody like, actually Leon Bichelle should be okay too. He's 25 years old. Let's bring him in. He does want a 1-way. But he could be a fringe NHL defenseman or AHL defender, so he'll come in as well. So that is the AHL defender. We do need 1 to 2 right wingers in the NHL, which I know there was some forwards we were interested in, like Riley Height, but I think he's a center. So in terms of the right wingers, is there any good younger options? Demek, 26.79. Jakob Demek. He could come in, sure, why not? I don't mind it. We'll probably also give him a 1-way deal, but a 1-year deal only. Might as well give a couple of these guys some decent chunk of change. Hopefully we are cap compliant, because I'm a little bit worried about that. So Demek's on board, and 1 more right winger for the NHL that's relatively young, but not too old. Sam Colangelo. There's also Knack. Knack was playing in the NHL last year, because we saw him in the playoffs, I think, at one point. Simone Knack. You know what? We're bringing him in, sure. Might as well. Maybe he has a knack for making us a good team eventually. So we'll take him in. Perfect. Okay. We also do need 2 AHL right wingers. There's a lot that the AHL needs and the NHL needs as well. We're also going to probably sign some of our unsigned guys that we just acquired. So We'll go ahead with that afterwards. But let's bring in Jamson, 76 at 26, just to give the AHL team maybe a bit more higher overall players in it. Make us a little bit better. Anybody else? Is there anybody with good potential that is available? Philip Mazar. There's a low 6 at 66 at 22. That's not super high, to be honest, though. Chromiak, 22, 69, and Bem. There's a Lidstrom. Is this Nick Lidstrom? Nicholas Lidstrom, this guy's name is. Okay, we got to bring this guy in just because of his name. So Nicholas Lidstrom, low 9, 22 65 overall. He's not great, but he's got the name of a legend, so we'll bring him in. Because why not? Alright, so that's 2 AHL right wingers. We need 2 NHL left wingers. So what do we got for these guys? Do we got any potential guys first for the AHL? Because the AHL needs 1 left winger as well. The AHL needs a left winger. Is there anybody here? Oh, 69 at 19 and Oland. You know what? That's pretty perfect. So we'll bring him in. So Ludwig Oland will come into the AHL team. Unsigned draft prospect. We'll take him. Go with that. Boom. So 2 NHL left wingers. So let's see what we got here in terms of younger options. Tyler Boucher. Sure, why not? He's not going to pan out, but we might as well bring him in. A lot of these guys are going to get an opportunity that they never thought they'd get. So 1.8 for Boucher and one more guy that's younger on the left wing side of things. There is Josh Philman. Might as well bring in Josh Philman. We've seen him play as well in the playoffs before. Give him a 1-year deal. Give him much more money. And take that there, Josh. Perfect. So that's all good in terms of the left wingers. Now we only need a couple more things. We need 3 NHL centers and 2 AHL centers. So the 3 NHL centers, obviously the first one that we need to sign is Riley Height. He's going to be another cap whale on this team. He only wants a 1-year deal. And then he'll be an RFA, so at least we'll have rights. We'll give him a 1-year deal. And then obviously after this we could debate if we want to keep him around longer term or not. So let's give him a 1-year deal at $9 million. Welcome aboard, Riley. And 2 more centers that are relatively young. There is Matt Poitras as well. I do kind of like Matt Poitras a little bit. It would make us a little bit stronger. You know what? We'll bring in Matt Poitras too. And we'll just give him exactly what he's asking for. Might as well give these younger centers an option to try and play with a team that they'll get a lot of ice time with. And our last center we'll bring in a little bit of guy that's not as strong. Somebody like Philip Beested. Why not? Why not? Bring in the beast from the... No, he's not from the east, but still that would have been fun to say. Alright, so that's 3 centers. We do need 2 AHL centers, so let's find some people that are a little bit lower even. Actually, is there anybody with potential here first and foremost again? That is young, that went undrafted or didn't get signed. There's one Kaminsky. Okay, Kaminsky and Lindros for sure. Definitely those type of options that I'd like to bring in. So Kaminsky in for the AHL. I don't know why it scrolls all the way back up, but I'll go back down here again. We'll get Lindros as well. And that's the 2 AHL centers we need. So that literally should be everything I need to sign this offseason. We're at 46 of 50 contracts. So let me just make sure we're cap compliant. We are also actually going to go into our contract situation and sign that one unsigned defenseman we brought in, which is Houghton. So he's going to get his ELC. Perfect. He might play on the NHL team next season. And then I think everybody else here could stay unsigned. So that's good. We have 26 million in cap space, so we might still need one more cap whale. Let me double check that we're cap compliant first, though. Let's see. Yeah, we're a little bit below, so we are going to have to still sign one more player here in free agency. So let's go to free agency. And let's give ourselves a depth goaltender in the system or something like that. So that way we have multiple goalies in case. Is there anybody else with good potential for the AHL? Wow, Wallsted's in an RFA? Yeah, Wallsted's currently in an RFA. That's kind of interesting. Trying to hold out for more money. Man, I've almost literally been recording for an hour already. And this episode's been all over the place. I hope that you guys don't find it boring. But we got to get this rebuild set up for a good thing. So, Glifford. I mean, he's a little bit high of an overall. Wisewood on an ELC. Trying to look for somebody that I could actually give a contract to. I guess I could give somebody like Gage Alexander a contract, but he could just be like a healthy scratch in the AHL because he doesn't have much potential. Or he could be a healthy scratch even in the NHL. But we do need more caps, so let's sign him to like 5.5, and that should be, or 5.875, and that should get us to be cap compliant, I think. If not, we might need more options still. Let me just take a look and see now if we're cap compliant. I think we're a hair below. So let's go back again. Let's sign one more player. Oh my goodness. So much work to do this offseason. This is definitely our most eventful offseason yet. We haven't even simulated to the start of the season yet. And I want to get our line set up for next season too. So we will be here a little tiny bit longer at least. Let's bring in Heimo Salmi. Why not? Heimo Salmi. 1 year deal, one way. And let's just give you like $3 million bucks or something like that. Boom. There we go. So we got everybody signed in. We should be cap compliant now. We're right against the cap in terms of contracts, and we are cap compliant. Perfect. All right, now we can actually sim to next season. We aren't going to do any off-season focuses here because I just don't have the time to do that. This episode's already been way too long, and I really just want to see what our lineup is looking like. Let's just remove everything from our trading block here at the moment because we're not trying to make any trades at the moment. But yeah, I'm excited to see what the team's looking like. Obviously, it's going to be pretty damn trash, but there is going to be some good prospects at least getting a chance this year. Like Karain probably will get a chance to play in the NHL just because obviously might as well give him NHL time instead of getting him back to the CHL, unless he's not that good in the NHL. But we should get some growth potentially this offseason as well. That should help us out a little bit. Brock Nelson's probably going to drop off a little bit more, my guess. But hopefully not too much. But obviously he's going to be here till he retires. He's probably sad that all his friends have left the team though, because we literally just did a huge fire sale. All right, so let's go to roster moves here and first and make sure we have the right guys in the NHL that we want to have in the NHL. So start off with goalies, Khudobin, Solovyov. That actually looks pretty damn good for their first season as a tandem. I like that a lot. In the system, Gage Alexander, he's going to be scratched probably. Medvedov and Nikulin as the two goaltenders. Defenseman, Dobson, Bichelle, Lemeru, Ottavainen. Actually, the defensive core looks pretty solid. I'm kind of surprised Bichelle jumped up to an 81, but we'll probably play Salmelainen still with Dobson because he's our top prospect. These three guys will get less ice time. Houghton probably should be playing in the NHL. Heimo Salmi could be a depth defenseman, so that looks actually okay. And then we have Donovan down in the minors. This is going to be a healthy scratch probably and stuff, but that's not bad. We can still call up one more player apparently. We have Demek, Cook, Knack, and DeFore. We could call up somebody like Maggio. Might as well do it. Maggio's not got much potential at this point. Frondell, Crane is up to an 80. Love to see it. Philman and Boucher. Yep, that's all right with me. And then we have Nelson, Height, Poitras, Gord, and Beestead. Yep, that's good. That's good. Okay, I think we're ready to set up our lines, actually. And I'm not too sure how the chemistry is going to be, but first line, Frondell, Nelson, and I guess trying to think of where I want to put Crane and all the young top prospects. I guess we should put Cook on the top line because he's the guy we just traded for, and he is a good shooter. So yeah, he's getting top line ice time for sure with Nelson and Frondell. That's going to be interesting. Very, very interesting. Aside from that, I mean, Yanni Gord on the fourth line probably makes the most sense. Yeah, Crane in the top six is good. Riley Height playing with him, I like that. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. It's obviously a bad on paper, but I mean, technically in terms of potential, I mean, we do got our young guys like Frondell and Cook together. Cook, obviously, like I said, I think he could be a really underrated player. We put him on the power play and all that. He could actually score some goals. And we have Height and Crane there as well to worry about. And then there's a bunch of filler guys. Defensively, Lamoureux and Dobson right now, I don't want that. I want Salmelainen and Dobson. Lamoureux, Ottavainen, Heimo Salmi, and Bichelle. What about that other defender? Where is he? Or maybe he's already in the lineup. No, he's not. He got scratched. That's what it is. He got scratched. Houghton needs to be in. So we got to get Houghton into the top four as well because he's got potential. So I'll probably put Lamoureux on the right side and go with that. Yeah, that's looking good. That's looking good. Okay. And then goalies Khudobin, Solovyov. Yeah, I think we're in a pretty damn good spot in terms of setting up this team. Nice. Let's just go to the power play, make sure we got our top prospects on it. So Frundell, Nelson, Height, Houghton, and Dobson. I don't know why Frundell's at center, though. That's the one thing I'm kind of confused about. So we'll go with that instead. I probably should put all the kids on the power play, but I'd want to have Brock kind of on the power play because he's been a legend with this team. I could put him at the point and then give... actually, no. You know what? I'm going to take him off the first unit. I think the kid's got to be on this unit. I think the kid's got to be the priority here. So we go with Height on that unit with Frundell. And then we'll give Cook this first line power play time instead. And then we will go to the second unit. We could play Poitras because he's only 25. I am going to take Knack off this unit and give this though to Brock Nelson because Nelson could play on this unit. We'll take Cook off this unit, and who could play at the point here with these guys? Is there anybody I would want to put on this point? Nobody for defenders. Trying to think of who else I want to give more ice time to. Want to make sure our prospects get it. Kyle Crane, I guess. Yeah, Crane should get some power play time. So we'll get Crane up there, actually, and then Nelson could be at the point instead. That looks good to me. Penalty kill. Crane and Beestead. I guess it's good to get Crane some penalty kill time. Frundell and Gord. Yeah, okay. I'm okay with that for the most part. So I think our NHL team looks pretty solid. I mean, obviously we're pretty low overalls, but Anton Frundell is getting a big chance this year, obviously, to get Cook going in the right direction, who we just acquired. We brought in Crane, obviously, from the CHL. He's going to get the chance to play with Riley Height, who is a free agent signing. And then defensively, I mean, it's kind of interesting because obviously Noah Dobson's going to be here, but he's going to get to play with a young 18-year-old defenseman in Sam Alainen. Then we have Houghton, who's the offensive defenseman we brought in, and a bunch of other filler guys. And then we have the young goaltending combination of Khudobin and Solovyov. I actually really like the looks of the team, despite not having much potential right now. And then if we go best lines in the AHL, let's just make sure the right players are in. We probably want Nikulin in, like we were saying, instead of Gage Alexander, so let's do that for sure. Anybody else that I want to have for sure? And Galvin doesn't matter really too much. You know, he's a prospect. Same with Solnishkin. Unila, low 4 probably should be in. And Lindros, who we just signed, should be in. So let's get those guys in. So we'll take Gil out of the lineup. Because Gil's already 26. Lindros could play. And then we'll go to defensively. We'll move Pratt up to the top pairing as well. Because Pratt should be getting a good chunk of ice time. We'll take Jorian Donovan out of the lineup, I think. Actually, we should take Fulp out of the lineup because he's 29. I do like Fulp because he's been here so long, but let's get Yanila in instead. And let's make sure Pratt is getting some power play time, which he already is. Okay, that's good. That's good. All right. I think everything's set up the way I want it to, so that's all good and ready to go. And final thing, let me just go to the captains here for a second. So Nelson's the captain still. Frundell's an alternate now. Noah Dobson's also an alternate. I think that's the right decision. It's the right decision. All right. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this kind of crazy, hectic episode of New York Islanders franchise mode. Obviously, we didn't start the season sim yet, but I think next episode would be a better point to start it out on just because that free agency and trades and all that stuff took a long, long time. But I think I'm excited for this upcoming season just to see how our prospects progress. Also, how the draft is, because obviously we have a ton of picks in this upcoming draft. So hopefully it's the one where there's like franchise players, elite players that we could get multiple of, and we could start stacking up our prospect pool so we can obviously make it back to a Stanley Cup Finals in the near to distant future. So listen down below, and I'll see you guys next time.